Good morning. My name is Lee White, and today's video blog is on the subject of foundry automation versus labor. Many foundries over the years have been desirous of labor reductions. The industries that the foundry industry serves that require a lot of labor and higher volume operations have largely moved overseas because their labor is essentially cheap. However, now, even in China and India, many new foundries that are being constructed in a very automated way so that they can reduce labor because even their labor prices are going up. So in the United States, what are we called to do? How do we respond to this labor issue? Some operations are responded with automatic molding, which drastically reduces labor rates. But automatic molding machines don't necessarily apply to every foundry, especially the lower and mid-volume foundries. So it's important to qualify who should automate and frankly how thoroughly they need to automate. Back when I was young, and certainly young in the foundry industry, PLC controls of conveyance systems were becoming not common, but entering the market at least. And there was a bit of a rush to where people just jumped on the bandwagon and spent piles and piles of money on semi-automated and fully automated molding systems that made no sense. And I witnessed a number of manufacturers, equipment manufacturers, put foundries out of business because they sold them a bunch of equipment they couldn't afford that didn't apply to the type of work that they were doing, and quite frankly had no business in their foundry. So when I had the opportunity to move from working in a foundry to working in foundry machinery, I always took it upon myself to make absolutely sure that the equipment that I was selling or proposing, and certainly in a consultancy standpoint recommending, that it fit the character of the foundry and that the productivity measures fit what the foundry actually needed. And it wasn't just a pie in the sky, fancy, ideal world. So with that said, what I'd like to do is open a discussion with you about what does your foundry really need. Do you need automation? Do you need automatic molding? Do you need automatic grinding? Or do you just need some common sense thoughts and ideas to put in your foundry to instill higher productivity, higher efficiency, lower labor rates? What is the best fit for you? So with that, I'd like to start obviously in making molds. That's where the foundry starts, is in sand. If you're a jobber, I recommend owning that. If you're a jobbing foundry, great. You can earn a tremendously good living with a jobbing foundry. If you're an automatic molding machine foundry already, higher volume, great. If you're successful at that, great. Trouble is, people try to step outside of their character, whether it's a human being stepping outside of their character or whether it is a foundry stepping outside their character, for instance, a jobbing foundry, thinking that they can effectively run as an automotive foundry. That's a big step. It is a huge step in technology. It is a huge step in personnel, in procedures, in qualification of castings. So I think when you're thinking about automation and you're thinking about upgrades, I think it's really important to consider, does it fit the character of our company? And then secondly, if we want to change and if we want to automate and we want to upgrade, can we afford it? Is it something that we really have any business doing at all? Can we afford the upgrade in technology? The flip side of that is, can I afford not to upgrade my technology? Most people can, as long as it's properly applied and properly justified, properly sourced. Most people can afford and need to afford the investment in technology to get ahead of their competition. Frankly, your competition is foreign competition, and they're doing it manually still anyway. I mean, you are competing against guys with wheelbarrows and shovels still. So then you look at your domestic competition, and they're probably running very similar processes to what you are now. If they're not running more advanced techniques, if they're not running more automation, they're probably not going to be around very long. The day of the completely manual foundry, the small job shop, is quickly going away. Even jobbers have to automate to get labor lower, just to find people that, number one, want to work on the equipment, number two, that are willing to work on the equipment, and number three, that'll actually show up for work every day. It's a heck of a lot easier to show up and run an automatic molding machine than it is to show up and pound a jolt squeeze machine. So as you are a foundry owner and looking at means of investment, the shops that we see that are the most successful right now have automated, have improved their labor conditions, if you will. People are still working, but they're just not working as tediously as they used to. But these folks are investing. They're investing in automation. They are investing in machine tools to machine castings, so that you're no longer just a foundry. You're a producer of parts that are ready to be installed. So, just a ton of things to think about when you consider automation. I think it's a good idea to look forward. No matter how advanced your foundry is right now, or frankly how archaic your foundry is right now, I think it is important to look forward. I think you need to look at what is the next step to grow your shop, to grow your customer base, to grow your product offerings. You have to keep looking forward. If you are looking back 20 years, if you're looking back 10 years, 5 years, and even 2 years, if you're looking back to the days that were great, you're looking the wrong direction. You've got to look forward.